Welcome to the Head Smart, Heart Smart Marketing Series.
Neuroscience and branding insights to make your marketing brain-friendly and emotionally intelligent.
When you reach out to customers in a web page, email, social media post, Zoom call, or sales pitch, you've got a goal in mind. You want to get your customers' attention right away, and as soon as possible, you want your customers to value your value, to discover and appreciate how you can make their life, how you can make their business better. Because that's where the real sales conversation begins, when customers start to value your value. So you rev up your marketing engine, you create some web pages, an email campaigns, social media posts, videos, sales presentations, all of that hard work. You pour so much time, so much money, so much planning into your marketing. But all too often, you just don't get the traction you're looking for. Customers are slow to value your value, and you end up spinning your wheels. Now, it's a common dilemma.
The path to getting customers to value your value is not automatic. There are some serious lurking hazards that you have to avoid.
Here's the problem that we regularly see, especially in companies that sell complex products and services. Customers are slow to grasp the value that the companies provide because of the way they communicate. The messages get shut out because they clash with their customers' heads and hearts.
The problems fit into three areas: your emotions, your ideas, and language. Many companies innocently create the wrong emotional impression.
They come across as flat and boring. They fail to stir positive buying emotions, or even worse, they activate anti-buying emotions like confusion and overwhelm and fear. And if you strike those wrong emotional chords, your sales will grind to a halt.
The second problem area is ideas. Many marketing efforts start off on the wrong foot.
All too often the content that gets presented, it's based on what the company wants to say, not on what the customer needs to hear, especially at the beginning of the sales cycle. The ideas, they're good, but the timing is off. For a good idea to be the right idea, it must come at the right time.
The third problem area is language. Many companies unwittingly sabotage their great ideas with the words they use.
When you craft a message to your customers, you have a lot of choices available. You see, brains respond to different words in different ways. Now, there are some words that brains process immediately. Other words, it's a different story. And there are words that consume a lot of mental calories. So when a web page or an email is filled with brain-taxing words, the message gets muddled and the brain shuts down.
So true. So where does this leave the customer? In a state of confusion and doubt, which is an enormous challenge because the confused mind is resistant to buying and does not buy.
Fortunately, there is a solution to these problems, the problems that trip up so many companies. Head Smart, Heart Smart Marketing will help you make all your messaging brain-friendly and emotionally intelligent.
And what difference will a Head Smart, Heart Smart approach make for your company?
Well, it will relieve some of the frustration you may be feeling right now over how long it takes for customers to pay attention and genuinely engage with your brand. You'll be able to identify and eliminate any roadblocks that are in your marketing now.
And you'll enjoy some powerful advantages like accelerating your sales cycle and connecting with customers like never before.
And so where do these insights come from? Well, it comes from uniting two important spheres of thought, branding and neuroscience. The neuroscience insights come from my colleague and co-presenter Dietrich Demaray. Now, Dietrich is an emotional intelligence leadership coach with Emotional Wealth Management, Inc. Dietrich is an author and a researcher, and for more than 20 years, He has turned neuroscience research into practical, easy to implement strategies. Dietrich helps his clients achieve lasting results in a short period of time.
Well, the branding intelligence comes from Roger Grant of Identicore Marketing. Roger has dedicated his career and his life to getting messages into the mind, and he's so good at it. He's been a journalist, he's worked in corporate storytelling, creator of branding and brand names. He excels in giving his clients a clear story in a few words.
And to help you put an end to the clashing problem with your customer's mind and emotions, we've created the Head Smart, Heart Smart Marketing series. And it's comprised of 3 webinar training sessions. The first one, the 5 secret brain cravings, how to prime your customer's brain to buy. Number 2, storytelling that leads customers to buy, how to create a story that ignites buying demand. And the third one, get your message into the mind, how to craft brain-friendly sound bites that lead customers to sales.
Today, we'll give you a taste test of each presentation, including practical ideas that you can start using this afternoon.
The ideas and concepts we'll share in this series, they're going to help you write more effective and engaging web copy and emails, but they're about more than just marketing. So if you introduce your employees to these ideas, you'll equip them to present a compelling and enticing company story. Your entire team will become part of the sales team. And these ideas also make a big difference in leadership development.
As a coach, I love to see people embrace these concepts because when they do, they see big gains in personal influence and team performance, and they thrive in every area of their life.
Let's kick off your taste test with the 5 secret brain cravings. There are 5 factors that your customer's brain is looking for from your brand. And if you fulfill these 5 secret cravings, you create an emotional environment that primes the customer's brain to buy.
The content of this presentation is drawn from neuroscience research conducted at some of the world's most prestigious universities, including Harvard, Yale, and Stanford. What neuroscience researchers have discovered is that there are 5 factors that are always on our minds and our customers' minds as well. We can call these factors the 5 secret brain cravings. Our brains automatically scan for and evaluate these 5 factors in all our interactions with friends and family, interactions with business colleagues, and interactions with brands, both consumer brands and brands in the business-to-business world. As the 5 circles suggest, these factors overlap. Brain impressions gained in one circle influence perceptions in the others. And just as our brains instruct our lungs to keep breathing without conscious thought, our brains scan for these 5 factors, without conscious thought. You can't turn off this scanning, although it's not something we're cognitively aware of. It is extremely influential in our perceptions and experiences of life. It is continually at work in the subconscious now.
So how are these 5 secret factors relevant? How do they impact your marketing? Well, every time the brain scans for these 5 factors, subconscious impressions are made. These impressions, they feed and inform your customer's intuition, their comfort level, their confidence, and their willingness to buy. To make the best connections with customers and build the strongest brand, every marketer needs to pay attention to the 5 secret brain cravings. Because your customers use these 5 secrets as a list to evaluate your brand in the subconscious now, which means the list is a hidden list. It's a secret list.
So, what's it like to cater to a secret list? Well, if you don't know what's on the list, it's like stumbling around with a blindfold.
So let's pull back the blindfold a bit. We'll unveil the first of the 5 secret brain cravings right now. Dietrich, what is secret brain craving number 1?
The first secret is trustworthiness. Yes, trustworthiness. The reason it's the first secret is because we start looking for it even before we're born. Our lives start as a quest for trust. And once we build a bond of trust, the big outside world actually becomes a safe place for us. And our eyes, our face, our personality begin to light up very naturally, just like for this baby. Now our needs change and we become far less vulnerable as we grow older. The quest for trustworthiness continues for the rest of our lives, however. And in the adult brain, there's a constant scanning for trustworthiness. Is this person, is this company, is this brand trustworthy? Trust is the currency of every interaction, and it's so valuable in every relationship. There's a surprising paradox about trust, however. You can't go after it directly. Trust is actually a byproduct. Trying to go directly after trust invariably will backfire. Imagine you're shopping for a car. You stroll on to a used car lot and you meet the salesperson, and very early in the conversation, the salesperson says, "Trust me." Are you going to actually trust that person, that salesperson that you've just met? Well, probably not. So, what we've probably all found out in our own experience is that trust cannot be forced. Trust cannot be commanded. But it can be cultivated. We can sow seeds into our relationships, and we can take steps that lead to an abundant harvest of trust with our customers. Now, there are a number of factors that to create trust and help trust take root. Neuroscience has shown that one factor, more than any other, accelerates and facilitates the growth of trust. Most of all, trust is a byproduct of one concept. A 9-letter word is the most important seed to build trustworthiness. Can you guess what that 9-letter word might be?
Dietrich, I don't think people are likely to pull a 9-letter word out of thin air. So let's go visit Vanna, buy some vowels, and see if that helps. Okay, so for vowels, we've picked up a pair of E's and a pair of I's. Can you guess now? What is this 9-letter word that is the most important factor in cultivating trust?
Well, in case you haven't got it yet, let me give it to you. Trustworthiness is a byproduct of receiving. Receiving. Trust starts to grow when people receive who you are. And once they start receiving you, then they're ready to explore the value that you can bring. So how do you know if someone's receiving you?
In the full 5 Secret Brain Cravings presentation, we'll discuss subtle receiving cues that you can pick up on, and we'll introduce you to steps you can take to encourage a receiving dynamic. One effective strategy is to identify a challenge your customer is facing and give them the gift of a problem solved. A spirit of genuine giving fosters receiving. And we'll also introduce you to the other 4 secret brain cravings, including surprising secret number 3. Now, Dietrich, when you first introduced me to number 3, it seemed so counterintuitive. But then as I thought about it more, I came to realize that secret 3 plays an enormous role in your ability to keep customers in a productive emotional zone.
The 5 Secret Brain Cravings presentation takes place 1 week from today, on Tuesday, March 16th at 11:30, and Eastern Time at 9:30. Eastern and anyways, you can see it right there. Eastern and 9:30 Mountain.
So in session 2, we're looking forward to insights on ideas that present in your marketing.
In storytelling that leads customers to buy, you'll learn how to create stories that ignite buying demand.
So When you, or maybe one of your team members, introduce your company, what do you say? Do you have a polished, engaging, and beautifully choreographed story that captures attention and draws people in? Or, maybe you just wing it and hope that genius will strike and that your fancy footwork will win the day and somehow something you say will capture the customer's attention. Or maybe you're like most companies, that instead of telling an actual story, you slip into textbook mode and you end up just describing what your company is or makes or does or sells. And you present a "we are great" narrative. We see it all the time. It's like we are the innovative industry leader in the design and manufacture of advanced gizmos and widget solutions. And to those kind of stories, no one really cares. So in the brand story session, in our online training series, we will present a powerful, proven formula, 6-part story structure. So we teach you how to take advantage of this story formula. It's used by the world's best novelists, playwrights, and screenwriters. And so if your company is like most of the others that we've worked with, this story structure will lead to a dramatic transformation in how you introduce your firm and the response you get from customers. Just like it did for Heinz. Before Heinz learned the 6-part story structure, he would get up in a business event and introduce his company this way. He would say, "Hi, my name is Heinz. My wife and I have owned Calgary Blinds and Shutters for 10 years. We have a mobile blind and shutter service and have lots of positive Google reviews." People in the room would listen politely, but no one was, really engaged, and buying emotions remained unstirred. But after learning to place his company in the 6-part story structure, he started telling an actual story rather than just a description. An actual story with dramatic change, audience interest, and results. So here's what he changed his intro to. "Hi, my name is Heinz. I help people like Jennifer. She called me yesterday and said, 'Our dream home doesn't feel like a dream home. I'm tired of living in a fishbowl and having to shower in the dark. We went to IKEA on the weekend and bought some blinds. They fell down last night. Can you help us?' Absolutely. We have a mobile blind and shutter service. We bring all the samples into your home so you can see what the colors look like next to your sofa and next to your walls. We take all the measurements and do the installation. You'll have your blinds in about a week and a half. I'm Heinz from Calgary Blinds and Shutters." Heinz's intro was changed from a textbook description to an actual story. And the 6-part story formula can do the same for your company as well. But before we unveil the 6 points in the story structure, let's take a look at 2 big problems that the structure helps you avoid. The first problem is Nauger-Redor.
Nauger-Redor? Roger, I don't get it. I don't get it yet. What is Nauger-Redor?
Well, isn't it obvious? Nauger-Redor. The problem is Nauger-Redor.
Maybe I should teach you how to run spell check. Maybe that's the problem. Nauger-Redor doesn't mean anything.
So Dietrich, even though I put all the right information right in front of you and have tried to convince you with plenty of enthusiasm, you still don't understand the message. Is that right?
Roger, if there is something hidden, some hidden message in Nauger-Redor, I don't get it.
Thank you. That's the point exactly that I'm trying to make. If you present the right information, but in the wrong order, in Nauger-Redor, it makes no sense. But that is what so many companies do. Instead of telling a nice, clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 story, so many companies instead tell a 5, 4, 1, 3, 2. And they leave 6 out altogether. They use the wrong order. Or worse yet, they start on point 4 and make it a big deal, and then go on into 5 and maybe include one as an afterthought. Stories with Nauger rigor go nowhere. Make sure you put your story in the right order. And the 6-part story structure will help you do that. Now, the second big problem is a casting catastrophe. So when we're developing an actual story, like if we're sitting down to plan a screenplay or a novel, we would probably start off by thinking through the characters would be in advance. So, a common setup is you have a hero, you've got a victim, maybe it's a damsel in distress or a Donald in distress, and then you've got a villain. And so the first question that is the author of the story that each of us needs to answer is, who should the hero be? Well, if we're telling a company story, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? The company is footing the bill for this. It's a story about the company, so the company should be the hero, right? Well, that's one option. But, if you think about it a little bit deeper, if you, as the company, takes the role of hero, where does your customer get to fit in? It's no fun being a victim, and I don't think you're going to sell to people who you think are villains. We need to shake up this order and shake it up significantly. The genius of the story structure is for the company not to be the hero, but to make the customer the hero. The customer the hero. So if we claim to be a customer-focused company, we make that true by making the customer the hero in our story. Okay, well, if that's the case, then where will the company, where will we fit in? I don't think we want to be the victim. We don't want to be the villain either. Well, then let's follow the example that we see in so many great movies and so many great novels and so many great musicals. And we'll take a different role. We'll be the guide. The company is the guide, the customer is the hero. Okay, so once you've got the cast of characters straight as to who fits into what role, now it's time to move to the next step.
So, Roger, you've warned us about the dangers of Nauger and the casting catastrophe. How about you walk us through the 6 steps in the story structure?
Sure thing. And to make it easy to understand, let's walk through it following Heinz's example. So the story starts with a hero. And the hero in Heinz's story are people like Jennifer. The next step is we learn very early in a great story, in a great movie, that the hero wants something. So in this case, what Jennifer wanted was, she wanted her dream home to feel like a dream home. But have you ever noticed if you go into a movie that if you find out what the hero wants and then automatically gets it, that it's a really dull movie? The story just doesn't take you anywhere. Instead, what great authors, great screenwriters, great communicators do is create a whole bunch of obstacles. Things start going wrong, and it looks like the hero is never going to get what he or she wants. So in this case, the obstacles that Jennifer ran into was, I'm living this fishbowl existence. I'm showering in the dark. I put IKEA blinds up and they fell down. And then just as you reach the bottom, where all those obstacles seem insurmountable, that's when you introduce the guide. And so as your company comes in, you come in step 4 as the guide. And so in Heinz's example, the guide is Heinz's mobile blind and shutter service. And then what does the guide do after meeting the hero? Well, the guide has a plan. The guide leads the customer, leads the hero on a path. And in this case with Heinz, he brings samples to your home. We take all the measurements, we do all the installation. And so a really clear, in this case, a 1, 2, 3 step plan that builds confidence and also creates buying demand. And where this leads to is a transformed future. Great movies, great stories lead to a transformed future for the hero. And the transformed future for Jennifer was, no more fishbowl. You will have your blinds in a week and a half, and your dream home is going to feel like a dream home. So that's walking through the structure, and here you can take a look and see what all the pieces look like together. A great story starts with a hero who wants something, but then runs into obstacles and opposition and into villain. And then, at just the right time, the hero meets the guide. The guide understands the hero. The guide has experience that will help the hero with where he or she is at that moment. And then the guide has a plan to lead the hero on a path up to a transformed future. You have seen countless movies that follow this structure. And it's the best practices of storytelling that has developed over centuries and millennia. In the full session, we'll guide you through each of these steps so you can craft a compelling story that will lead your customers to buy.
The storytelling that leads customers to buy presentation takes place 2 weeks from today on Wednesday, March 23rd at 11:30 Eastern, 9:30 Mountain. The final session in Head Smart, Heart Smart Marketing focuses on the right words to use in your marketing so you can get your message into the mind. We'll teach you how to craft brain-friendly sound bites that lead to sales.
So let's start with a story. So back in the early 60s, there was a small group of elite astronomers. And this group of individuals was fascinated, captivated by this concept, by this thing way out there beyond Jupiter and Mars. And what they were totally involved in were totally compressed gravitational objects. And the only people in the whole universe that cared about totally compressed gravitational objects was that tiny group of elite astronomers. Then they changed the name to black hole, and they had the attention of the entire planet. So what do we learn from the black hole example? It teaches us that our brains welcome some words, but others are too taxing, so they get cast aside. Some words open the mind to learning and exploration, others shut it down. So if you want to get your message into the mind, you need to use the right kind of words. So what kind of words do brains welcome? Or even better yet, what kind of words get into minds the fastest? Okay, well, to find out, I'm going to need your help with this one. So let's play a virtual version of the synonym shutout game. Now, if we were all together in one room, I would get you to shout out a synonym for the words that you're going to see on the next few slides. And then we would all hear each other's responses in real time. Now, in this virtual version, I still want you to say the synonym that comes to mind and say it out loud. So, say it to your computer. If you're in a cubicle, don't say it too loud unless you want to get some jeers from your workmates. If you are, like most folks now, and working from home, you can bellow it out and not have to worry about that. But when you see these words on the next few slides come across, say it out loud, and then what I'd like you to do is type it into the chat box. So say it out loud, and then type it into the chat box after that. So say the synonym that comes to mind, and then type it into the chat. So the first word for you to say out loud and shout it out, and then type it in afterwards is this one: repair. And type it into chat. Excavate. And type it into chat. Rapid. And type it into chat. Melancholy. Type it into chat. Something you drive. Type it into chat. Something you read. Type it into chat. Now, it's interesting what came up in chat is, and this also parallels what we see when presenting this in a group setting is put up the word excavate and everyone says dig. Put up the word rapid and everyone says fast. Put up the word melancholy, everybody says sad. And in that live environment, it's like the word sad is on the screen rather than melancholy. And so it's amazing what happens is that there's ideas flow in one word, and there's one in one direction. There's one word that everyone focuses on. Now, what happens with that? Why were those words chosen? What's the reason that sad was selected? What's the reason that fast came up? Well, as it turns out, the words that were selected have something in common. Yes, they're short, and then if you discuss it a little bit more, you come down to the point of saying they're one syllable, they're single syllable words. And that's true. But for our needs, there's a problem with syllables, because syllables has too many syllables. So instead of saying that it was single syllable words, you actually gave back to me one beat words. Now, I find that fascinating because if you go into the thesaurus in your mind, you've got a whole lot more words than just the ones that you gave me when I asked you for a synonym. But you selected one beat words. And I think there's something to learn here. And that is, if it's one beat words that come out of our minds and out of our mouths the fastest, what are the words that go into our minds the fastest? It's one beat words. Now, you may not realize this, but famous authors, playwrights, leaders, and brands have been using one beat words to infiltrate your mind forever. And their messages are permanently etched in your memory because of one beat words. You know, even if you never paid a lick of attention in high school English class, you know, you can probably quote for me the second part of the most famous line from Shakespeare's Hamlet. To be or not to be. One beat words worked for Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world. And you remember Martin Luther King's famous speech, August 1963, the Mall in Washington? What was the name of that speech? You've already thought it. I have a dream. And one beat words, a key part of elevating Nike from back in the mid-'80s, a slumping running shoe company into global brand with the one beat words, just do it. If you want to get your thoughts in the minds of folks, use one beat words. You know, you can say more than you think you can with one beat words. You can use one beat words to say what your firm does. Wait just a second here. I think there might be a little bit of skepticism around that. You just might be thinking it is categorically impossible to communicate the complexities of our business in simplistic snippets of single syllables. I think what you really mean is, I have my doubts if it will work. You can say so much with one beat words.
Roger, you state that one beat words can tell tales of deep thought. Can you show us how to do this? Can you use one beat words to tell what an oil refinery does?
Yes. The word refinery has too many beats. But here's what it does in one beat words. When crude comes out of the ground, you can't just pour it in a gas tank. These plants change the form of the oil so we can use it to drive cars and fly planes.
And what would the tale of the internet be in one beat words?
It starts with a box that has keys, a mouse, and a screen. A box that counts ones and O's. The net lets this box talk to the next box, and so on, in all parts of the world. You can say so much with one beat words.
One beat words is just one of the strategies we'll present in getting your message into the mind. We have many others to share in this presentation, which takes place on the final Tuesday of the month, March 30th, again at 11:30 and Eastern, 9:30 Mountain. We hope that you enjoyed the taste test and will start using some of the ideas that we shared right away.
Approach your customers with a genuine giving spirit. This will open your customers to receiving and help develop your trustworthiness, which is the first of the 5 secret brain cravings.
When you introduce your company, don't just describe what you sell or what you do. Tell an actual story. Follow the 6-step formula. Present the ideas in the right order.
Choose to be the guide.
Make the customer the hero.
And stay away from brain-taxing language. Shun long words that make brains work too hard and then shut down. Each time you can, make the best choice and use one-beat words. This way, you'll make your point strong and clear.
We have more good thoughts to give you in 3 web classes in the next 3 weeks. The presentations take place on the next 3 Tuesdays, March 16th, 23rd, and 30th. And if you can't make these dates for the live trainings, well, no problem. Your registration includes video replay.
We hope that you'll come. Here's the cost, $99 for each session, or you can buy the entire series for just $159, and you can register at brandhow.com. And because you have devoted time to be part of this webinar, we want to give you a limited time, very special offer. So by signing up before midnight tonight Mountain Time, or if you're in the Eastern time zone block, before 2 in the morning, tomorrow morning, what we'll do is we'll give you a 2-for-1 ticket. So that when you buy your ticket for the series, you'll also be able to invite a friend or a colleague at no extra charge to take part in the training as well. And again, if the specific dates, you've got a conflict there, not a problem, because registration includes the video replay. And so go to brandhow.com and you can register for the entire series.
Thanks so much for attending our webinar today.
So put our points into practice. If you make your marketing head smart and heart smart, you'll accelerate your sales cycle and connect with customers like never before. Remember to register for the full series at brandhow.com. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.